Cavalier faithful, your Cleveland Cavaliers, 3-game winning streak, playing angry. If you missed the Wizards game, we have you covered.
All right, it's the Cavs and the Wizards. Cleveland on the second night of a back-to-back for this mismatchup in the nation's capital. If Cleveland ran this set 100 times, they'd probably be successful 99 of them. Garland, touch pass, Mobley, patience, the dunk. Now, I don't know if I've seen Isaac Okoro attack from the wing, up top. He only attacks from those corners, but man, has it been working. He hangs and hits. And then LeVert takes the body, gets the bucket. He's going to line for and one. Denny Avdija, what are you doing holding the ball out? Donovan Mitchell says thank you, and Mobley sends his kindest regards as well as he finishes on the and one. What's this? A jab step 3 for Isaac Okoro, and get out of the way, Jared Allen, an angry jam. The Cavaliers have been playing angry lately, and yes, they're playing an undermanned Washington team. But a lot of people were complaining when the Cavaliers were losing to undermanned teams, myself included. Cleveland is just playing with an edge over the last 3 games. All 5 starters go for double figures for the second game in a row. Mitchell loops the alley from Garland, and the Cavs win 114-91.
Sports is about the story that the game tells. Sure, each individual game is fun and exciting, however you want to look at it. But when you look back on an entire season, let's take the NBA, for example. It's 82 games. You're not going to remember every single play from every single game. It's a little bit easier in the NFL. There's less games. With that being said, it's February 7th, 2023, long way before the NBA playoffs start for the postseason, the play-in game. But if something is going down in Cleveland in May, in June, you're going to look back and you're going to look at the Memphis game in February where Dylan Brooks dirtily hits Donovan Mitchell, and I promise, catch us in the finals, it's over for him. Where's our enforcer? I want that guy gone.
Ed Davis.
Ed Davis. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Step to Donovan again.
Ed.
Throws the ball, wins the fight, wins the game. One game. That was it. We just beat Memphis. That's one game. Rattle off a second win, rattle off a third win. We're going to walk into Rocket Mortgage tomorrow, and we're going to blow out Detroit. We're going to beat the Pelicans on the road, and then we're going to beat whoever we're playing after that, and you get an early chance at my predictions because we're not losing until the All-Star break, till after the All-Star break.
Did you see this coming out of the gate?
I'm with Jeff though. I mean,
I hear you.
First of all, I'll go out on the thing and just say that Memphis game was so needed beyond belief. I mean, it's obviously if you couldn't tell from Jeff's opening, very much needed. Very much put a fire under the Cavaliers. I also think that Garland probably already had a fire underneath him. You could see that, but I think you could see from that game forward, everyone. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Isaac Okoro, Donovan Mitchell, they've all been just so high energy. Going to the Grizzlies game, I just want to say I despise that team so much.
They're
terrible. I think it's just so I don't know how you could like this team because I'll put it quite simply. They just remind me of the Warriors before the Warriors, or they remind me of the Warriors when the Warriors actually won and we're talking a ton of shit. Now this is just a young group of guys who are talking a lot of shit, and they haven't done anything.
They haven't won shit.
No, they haven't done anything. First, it's the Shannon Sharp thing, though, but it's like these guys have a track record.
Yeah.
And I've always said this with Ja Morant. I have this personality where if it gets too mainstream, I'm not a fan. Like, take Squid Game, for example. So many people watch that. I'm like, I'm not watching that just because of it's so popular. That's how I am. I liked Ja Morant when he played at Murray State. I followed the guy in the tournament in college basketball. Comes to the league, total prime example of fame just gets to your head. Like, come on, dude. All you do is yell in the air for every time for an arm goes up. Logan, go on.
Every time. Just to make
they
it
all
known,
think they're superstars.
Yes, NBA officials suck. They just do. And you can ask any fan base, this isn't just Cleveland included. The officiating overall this season has been atrocious. Players will let you know all of that. That's not my point. My point here, you said at the top, Jeffrey, it wasn't just a game. You're right. It was not just a game. It was a moment. It was a singular moment that took 2.5 seconds to boil into this giant fight. And boy, when it happened, I said, we better not lose this damn game. Because if you don't win that game, maybe it's not as pretty. Maybe you're not as confident. But they kicked their damn ass the rest of the way, minus Mitchell. I mean, Dylan Brooks, That guy doesn't belong in the league, in my opinion. This is a guy who has a track record. It's a guy who does this crap all the time. He does it to Steph. He does it to Dame. Everyone talks about it. It took someone like Donovan Mitchell, a person who not only is a leader for the Cavaliers, but he's a leader for the NBA, an ambassador for the NBA. He is this guy who's perfect, perfect record. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't get angry. He just kind of goes out there, kicks ass, and moves on. He wasn't having it. Threw that ball. I think we threw that ball. He threw a lot of frustration. That wasn't just with that play. Wasn't just with that game. It was with this season. He wanted to set an example for his guys, and I loved that. And I really do think, like I say in my game recaps, there's an angry Cavs team. I love angry DG. I love Jared Allen's angry dunks. I like Evan Mobley having more confidence and starting to really dominate the game. And Donovan Mitchell now, suddenly, he's kind of like fills in all the other holes. Beginning of the season, he's carrying us to wins. Right. We need you to give us 40 tonight. Now it's like, holy shit, we have 2 straight games of all of our starters going for double figures. And if you want to talk quickly, Miami game, huge loss. Again, that's not a game. It's the moment. It's the story. This team is hawking you down. They're behind you. They beat you on your court. And I think that was a realization moment for the Cavaliers. Enough is enough. And they really do look a team now that can make a run in the playoffs.
I think that I want to, really quickly touch on a point that Jeff had brought up. I don't know if it was the last time we did a live stream or the one before that, but Jeff has talked about, not having Donovan be the sole proprietor of why we win games and to get more of those balanced wins. And now you can go back and you can look at the past 3 games and look and see double-digit figures for all the starters, and then, complementary numbers from a Chetty Osman, a Karis LeVert, a Ricky Rubio. And I don't know if we're, because of the Kevin Love situation with Karis being a little like dinged up, but I'm starting to see that JB is honing in on his final 8. Yeah. And he's like slightly also working in that 8 person, because he's kind of going between Lamar Stevens and then it depends on how well Chetty has been doing. If Chetty had like a really bad off night, I think Lamar gets a couple more minutes. That way Chetty kind of like knows, all right, I need to get back into like shooting, taking good shots and whatever, and not doing too much. But I really like the direction that this team, the trajectory, I bought the shirt that says, and it's not the GVR one, it's the quote from Garland where he says, we're a bunch of fine gentlemen. We don't. It's like I forget exactly what it says. It's like Cleveland, we're a bunch of fine gentlemen are raised or whatever. But in reality, I put out a tweet right before we went live or before we started recording saying like, I hope the Cavs versus Grizzlies becomes like a real rivalry for the next decade, because they're the exact opposite of us, where we're the guys who are humble. We have fun and everything, but I don't see Donovan or Darius or Evan or anyone being so over the top that they're pissing off other teams and stuff, And then you have Memphis. They're just a bunch of they're just trying to raise problems for no reason. Like, why you got to be obnoxious for no good reason, especially when you haven't won shit.
You know who doesn't belong on that team? Steven Adams.
Yes.
The nicest guys in the NBA. I love him.
He's their most valuable player.
So sad to see that he's with the Grizzlies. Good for him, because they win enough. Yeah. Good for him in that regard.
He literally makes that team go. They're never beating us when he's not healthy.
Hey, really quickly though. So here's the funny thing about Steven Adams and this comparison. He's had to deal with this before because he had Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City Thunder, and now he has Russell Westbrook in Memphis, but just 2.0
Well, just
I find Ja more annoying than Russ.
Ja's more annoying than Russ, but their games
they're annoying. They're annoying, but differently. Did Dylan Brooks push Gary Payton Jr. last year?
Yes, he's the one that cut him,
and broke his arm.
Yes, that was him.
So I agree with you.
He's a piece of crap.
Yeah,
he's a piece of crap.
He don't belong in the league. I'm in for that.
To me, I don't. When I say he doesn't belong in the league, I don't think that he needs to be thrown out of the league.
He doesn't represent the league at all.
He doesn't represent the league well. He gets a 1-game suspension. I'm sorry. What do you learn from that? Now, granted, 1 game without pay is like $350,000 for some of these guys. I get that, but they got $350,000 times 81 other.
At this point, if I'm Adam Silver, I'm calling into the refs at Memphis Cavs, and I'm being like, just keep both of them in. It's going to be better for ratings than throwing them both out and giving the one guy suspension. I thought they should have just kept both of them in. Honestly, truthfully, not because I wanted to see it, but you think you're going to have a recurring issue.
Officials did a putrid job of keeping the peace, by the way. I mean, I get it. I like it. I'll always love call no calls versus call every call. I like that officiating.
Sure.
But in that situation, they are letting each other just tear into each other on every possession. Luckily, Cavaliers were on the high side, so I didn't care. And in fact, it made it better. But yeah, it is. You love those random ass games that we walked in that game thinking Cavs Grizzlies, this should be a pretty fun one.
Right.
This is a big one. Like we knew that, but when you add that storyline, when you add that this could be the turning point for the Cavaliers, if you look at our podcast, every single week we've said, yeah, but we know they're good. Like they're gonna figure this out. But I'll be honest with you, in my head, I was kind of like, 45
you see the
wins?
issues. You see the
underlying issues. But now I see the vision. Isaac Okoro suddenly has figured it out. I have ripped on that guy since day one, but he's doing exactly what I said. This is all you have to do. Now he's doing it, and now everybody's buying into it. Everyone has their role. And it took a while, and I know we're just fired up and gassed up tonight, but
love it.
It's the first time that I'm truly like, okay, this is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Fair enough. And honestly, this is the first time I think all year where give me Donovan Mitchell as the primary leader. Perfect. Give me somebody else as someone who could step up. Tell me if I'm off base. The last 10 games, Donovan Mitchell has not been our best player.
No.
I think it's been Evan Mobley.
I think you can make
both ends of the floor consistently. I think it's the best 10 games. The last 10 games, I'd have to look at stats compare. He's played since being drafted to the Cavaliers.
Still can't make a three worth crap, but that's okay. That'll come.
That'll
come. Doesn't really need to though.
His threes are like to the point where he shoots it, and I'm like screaming at the TV, like, "Why are you shooting it?" But it's I recognize the value of him shooting it, but he really shouldn't be shooting it. But we need other people to at least keep defenses honest.
He's just going through that awkward phase of he came in as a rookie. They don't have enough time with him as a rookie to beef him up, so they let them play as whatever he was as like a college player. He might put on like 5 pounds, whatever. But I think this offseason they tried to like beef him up, tried to make him bigger, try to make him more durable. And obviously, his training towards the 3-point shot probably didn't happen as much as he would have liked to. And also he probably had to work with like him constantly feeling like sore, or if you've been to the gym and you try to go put up shots afterward, that you're overshooting or you're undershooting. It's constant. But I'm sure next year the 3-point shot will be a lot better. Good point. So
says his piece and dips. Wow.
Before he's out, maybe he's going to get the shirt. Before we go on to the next topic, which is going to be trade deadline, I think that so the Grizzlies, this is the last point I'm putting out there. What angered me about the Grizzlies situation is not only that it happened, but as soon as it happened, it's on national television, so it's not on Bally. So you have Reggie Miller, and as soon as it happens, the guy is tone deaf. He has no idea how to read the room, that everybody's kind of hating toward this Memphis team, rightfully so, not just trolling, but rightfully so, and defends them. They never saw a replay, never saw it. Oh, well, that was.
We don't know his intent.
Yeah, we can't do intent. We don't know. That looked like an accident to me.
Yeah.
That's what pissed me off. You see it around the world. You see Cleveland versus everybody, Cleveland versus the world. And then other cities started adopting that. If you watch nationally televised games, if you watch local market games, I promise you these people don't talk about other cities. Buffalo versus everybody, they do not talk about the Bills like that. I promise. They don't talk about other teams like that. This is a Cleveland specific thing. If you're born and raised in the city, you know how it is. Moving forward, Logan, this is the last time we're talking about it.
Shit. Really?
Trade deadline, because I don't know unless we make a move, obviously. But when is it? It's within this
Thursday,
is it the 9th?
Right? Thursday.
So just throw some thoughts out there. Move being made or not, and if a move's being made, who is the primary piece from the Cavs?
It's kind of a tough thing to say when the Cavaliers are playing well. And granted, these are games that we've beaten teams that are undermanned. I we'll call a spade a spade. It's more
Sure.
like the story within it. I finally see an inspired Cavs team, right? That's what I'm talking about. And these guys are all inspired. It's kind of hard suddenly, like, what move's really going to make you better? You're starting to just figure it out now. Is it going to hinder you by making a move? Don't make a move just to make a move. You know, we question this stuff all the time. I don't think Okoro's going anywhere anymore. I think he's finally figured it out. I think, honestly, of the pieces we have, suddenly he's kind of like the most valuable piece. And that's probably crazy to say. And I'm talking of course, I'm not counting our untouchables. I'm talking about guys who were rumored to potentially be traded. Right now, I think our only options, and this one already is off the books because apparently they're committed to him, it's Karis LeVert.
Yeah, I saw that report come out today that he doesn't seem to be getting shopped. I mean,
I don't love the idea of letting go of Jetty, to be honest with you, unless it truly does make us better. I think that guy belongs on the Cavaliers. I think he should be a Cavalier lifer. I'm not calling him like the best player ever, but I just think he fits so well with this team. He fits well with the system. To me, your only two options, really, and you don't have a whole lot of picks because you traded a whole bunch for him to get Donovan. Does anybody want Kevin Love? Do you want to pay him the last bit of his year contract that he's got left? Do you want a couple picks? Anybody just want to throw some guys at us? To me, there isn't really a whole lot of truly like, yeah, let's move them pieces on this Cavalier team. I do think you can make a splash. I do think it could help you. I also think it could ruin the chemistry, and you never know. Right now, let's talk about targets, right? Let's not talk about guys that we are interested in trading off our team. The targets we're linked to, you got Josh Hart, you got Josh Richardson. You've heard rumblings of Tim Hardaway Jr.,
Gary Trent.
You've heard Gary Trent Jr. I'd really like Gary Trent.
I'd rather have Anobi.
Yeah, that Anunoby is apparently as free as can be, but I don't know what the asking price, and I
don't think Toronto's sending any of those guys to us. No.
So the thing is, when you talk about those pieces, I think a lot of our guys on the team could get it done with a pick or two or package up a few. The question is, like, why, right? Why for them? Why for us? Gary Trent Jr. is probably the only guy that I'd be willing to give rid of, like a Jetty, a LeVert, I know I just talked about how he's been playing better, Isaac Okoro. But to me, nowadays, with the way we're playing, with the way everything is structured, your best hope and your kind of two only hopes are kind of like Jetty and Love if you're looking for any kind of trade move.
Honestly, I think it just shows how rare are true threes that are actually like good. How rare are three players in the three position that actually make a difference, because like none of those guys that we're trade targets for really fulfill the sole need that we have that we've talked about.
They're not really tall
going
enough,
on a year.
Yeah.
You're like a LeVert replacement and I think you make a move for LeVert last year and you're kind of just stuck into his contract. And my issue is that with the trade deadline, I do care about this season as far as getting better. I don't think you get overwhelmingly better making any trade right now unless you go mega blockbuster crazy sauce. But you have to look at some contracts that are expiring at the end of the year. Truthfully, here's my Kevin Love prediction. Another one, timestamp it, clip it. Kevin Love's going to be a do not play the rest of the year. And this is messed up to say, to predict this. We're going to get a playoff series. Somebody's going to get hurt. Like one of our rotation guys is going to get hurt. Love's going to come and drop 30 one game. Write that down.
Flip it.
So I don't know. Love, no one wants to take him. We're not going to buy him out. He's going to be on the roster the rest of the year. LeVert doesn't sound like he's getting moved. Jetty's picking up playing good basketball. I think he's the one that's liable to be moved unless somebody wants Lamar Stevens, unless for whatever reason somebody thinks Windler's as value. I think the Windler trades are hilarious. Like we've convinced ourselves that he has any value. Justin, how are you feeling? Any trades? I know you want LeVert gone, but will he be gone?
Yeah, here's the thing, Jeff. If you could, give me the numbers on this. Are all three of those guys that we talked about, Chetty, Karis, and Kevin, are they all done after this year?
I know
all their deals.
I think Jetty's still here for a year, right?
Love and LeVert are done after this year.
Okay, so here's my thing. I don't want to trade LeVert or Love for anyone that has more than a year on their contract, because I'm in the same boat with you guys in terms of unless it's something drastic, there's no real point to doing it because these guys are going to be off our books next year. And I don't have to.
Chetty, which this is interesting, actually makes me think he's liable to be moved more. 2023, 2024, Chetty has $6.7 million base salary, but it's non-guaranteed. That's interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, my point is like, I don't know the contracts of all the guys that we're targeting right now. But there's no point in doing what you did last year and inheriting a Karis LeVert for a second-round pick and, or a first-round pick and Ricky Rubio, who, was hurt, I understand why we made that move. I understand that we were winning, we were doing well, and we wanted to keep that going. Right now, we're winning. We're mostly healthy, and at the same point, Karis is down in terms of his trade value. Kevin Love, like you said, Jeff, has absolutely zero trade value unless LeBron really wants, a reunion of the Cavs in
That's
LA.
kind of the only place I could see Chetty going to, like in LA.
Yeah, and I just don't see the point in it. I understand, like, hey, Kevin Love, dead cap, that's not good. Karis is still contributing in a good enough manner that, by the time the year's over, he won't get the same money that he got from us in this last contract that whoever gave it to him. He won't get that again, so I'm not really worried about what happens with him. Whatever happens with Kevin Love, he should probably retire after this year because I don't know that he's got much basketball left in him the way that he plays. And, yeah, I mean, Chetty, I'm with Logan. I think Chetty needs to be a lifer here.
Yeah. No, I like what Tim Smith said on Twitter. He said this trade deadline, whether it's this deadline or this summer, the only moves you should be making are moves that will make you the best team in the NBA in 2024, 2025. That's 2 years from now. I think we're right on schedule for that. I do. I really do. I think Love LeVert coming off your books next year, you retool a little bit. I think the safe way to go is just not make a trade. You're fourth in the Eastern Conference. You probably can go to the semifinals right now with the way we're set up. But, you don't know. This is also a lot of unproven guys that haven't really sniffed the playoffs, or if they haven't played enough minutes alone in the playoffs. So I don't know. Obviously, trade deadline's always fun. It's always fun that when a notification comes out from Shams or Adrian Wojnarowski on my phone that says the Cleveland Cavaliers have acquired blank. That's always fun. It always sends me into a frenzy. It's what follows at the end of that tweet for blank, 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 and blank that I always say I'm never really truly sure about. And the Cavaliers have made some great trades lately. You're talking about Jared Allen. You talk about Donovan Mitchell. Talk about quite a few players that like the Cavaliers have brought in and made work. But is this the year to do it?
That's what I honestly am looking for, like a weird backdoor, like we're the third team, but somehow we like get
I'll take a third team trade,
like a third team, like banger, like Jared Allen. My issue is, and I think it's fun in games to be optimistic and just think that good guys are going to be good guys and are going to stay good guys. And it's not saying he's not a good guy, because like you said earlier in the Logan, I do believe Donovan Mitchell is one of the better guys in the league. Let's just say big picture. Do you want to mess around and be like, okay, let's say worst case scenario, first round exit this year, first round exit next year. Where's his head at after 2 seasons with us? Does he go, maybe we'll go another 2 years, maybe we'll get, but at next year's point, you've already had, it's Mobley's 3rd year. It's Garland's 5th year. You got Okoro for a 3rd year or 4th year. It'll be his 4th year next year. So it's like, I mean,
I get what you're saying, though,
you
Jeff.
Know what I'm saying? Like 10% of me wants to go and get Kevin Durant, but that's not happening.
It's kind of like with the Browns. You make the move for Watson. You're no longer staying put with we'll build for next year. I'm okay with this year being like, okay, they're figuring out whatever, blah blah blah. It's Donovan Mitchell is the one you went and got a number 1. You're not going to go and get a number 1.
He's going to be understanding of the foundation,
yes.
but expectations are kind of what is. I mean, not kind of. It's the standard. So last year we were, and this is what people don't understand about the Cavs record this year is that last year we made it to the play-in team. We were playing team primarily, Justin, correct? But nobody took us seriously until about the All-Star break.
Yeah.
After every team this year, opposing arenas, our arena, everybody's taking us seriously. Yep. You see teams play harder against us, play a little chippy, play a little bit dirty in cases. So you set the standard of playing team last year. You are expecting a playoff series this year. And if you're not, then you're just not being realistic. What's next year? And albeit it's not like, oh, let's not perform well to temper expectations. Like, we end up in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. No one's complaining, but then it's like next year gets real. Like, you're in hot water because now it's like, all right, I need to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think that's a trade deadline. I don't think anyone's getting moved.
I'll make one more point. When it comes to the playoffs this year, right? Say we make a trade at this deadline. Say we ship off, even though we said we won't, we ship off Karis LeVert picks, whatever blank. We get Gary Trent Jr. And then we go through a first round exit this year, right? Then it's kind of like, what was the point of that trade? Oh, and then you're gonna be like, oh, LeVert would have done this better. Or, you get into this versus the idea of, okay, this is what we have right now. Let's see how it does in competitive basketball. Okay, we were a first round exit. Now we retool, right? Right now, you're kind of like in a position where I don't think we've truly seen how good this Cavaliers team can be. It's finally coming together. But if we make a trade, we make a move, still doesn't move the needle, we end up a first round exit this season, then it starts becoming question marks of like, well, where do we go from here now? Yes, we're only trading for a role player, but it shows we're trying to be aggressive for what? At this point in the season, the way Boston's playing, the way Milwaukee's playing, I still don't think we're better than those teams. I think we're close, but I don't think a move at this trade deadline is going to put us over the hump with them. We can play with them right now. You never know what could happen.
Right.
And I 100% agree. I mean, I just don't think that there's going to be a move. My thing is, I don't think there's a move that realistically puts you pushes the needle so far. I mean, maybe there is, maybe I'm very
you don't know how a guy's going to fit. It could come and fit like a gem and you have a guy.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think of someone who's done that in recent memory. Here's the only example that I can give you, and it's not the perfect one, but Kyrie gets traded from the Brooklyn Nets, and Cam Thomas, who's been on the bench for since he's been a rookie, he drops 40 his first 44 night without Kyrie, and then the next night they start him and he drops 40 again.
He's a hooper.
Yeah, he's a hooper, but yeah, just right. You never know with if you got Gary Trent, who. He's a guy that I wouldn't imagine Karis LeVert and picks get you, In my mind, that's not, enough. Maybe you would have to throw in an Isaac Okoro for that trade to work out. Does that push you? Losing those two guys, like Logan said, and getting Gary Trent, is that worth the experiment? Is that worth breaking up what's here right now? I'm with Logan right now. I don't think that that's the move. I don't think that's the greatest idea unless you're only doing a 1-for-1.
The only move I'll explore is some backup cheap big, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Right now, guards, wings, I'm struggling with that. But I think what could be clear is a guy like JaVale McGee. I texted you guys today. He's just sitting on the bench over in Dallas. I loved him in Cleveland. I thought he brought great energy. I thought he was a great locker room guy. I think if you can make a simple move like that, if they want Windler or something like that, just I don't know, a simple swap. I don't know contracts and crap right now, but I think having a backup big for Mobley and Jarrett would be the move that I would be realistically okay with right now.
The most ironic thing about this deadline is that I think the person who makes the most sense, and go in the comments and flame me if you disagree, is Jay Crowder. But just the irony of the history that he's had with us, I think that he's kind of a non-factor, even though we were kind of interested in him in the preseason. But I'm not even a huge fan of looking at the move like you said, Logan. It's about the second and third layer. The issue with LeVert, the more I think about it, I don't want to get too wrapped up in our culture's the greatest, our culture's the best, who'd want to leave our culture, because it's valid points, but man's deal runs out. So if you're telling me now, if there's reports getting leaked now that we're not shopping him 48 hours before the trade deadline, the best 48 hours in the NBA regular season, essentially, and not even to mention Kyrie Irving to Dallas, but if you're not shopping him now, the next logical thought in my process is we're going to offer him an extension.
Right.
No, I'm not interested in that. And let's say we even think that that's a thing and we lowball him. All right, we're going to give you $9 million a year. And somebody else thinks they could fit him into their scheme for $12, $13 million a year, still $4 or $5 million less than his deal is now. He's going to walk. And it's like, you got nothing for him, which is fine. Getting nothing is better than overpaying, but he seems like the most movable piece, honestly, with Jetty, just because of, I don't think that Kobe's not moving on from a top 5 pick in Okoro. He's just not.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think that was a good discussion.
I think just
48
really quickly
hours.
with the trade talk and saying stuff about Kyrie. So with Kyrie moving to the West and Kevin Durant being hurt, is Garland gonna get snubbed again as a reserve?
Ooh, wait a minute.
Whoa, that's maybe they won't replace
Or maybe
him.
it's just finalized.
Maybe it's just because it's a draft, right? It's not
Yeah.
it's not exactly like East and West. They might just keep them.
But Durant going out.
So the other snubs would be James Harden, I guess.
I'm gonna be honest.
Garland.
I think
have no idea.
I think
Harden's
Jalen
doing.
Brunson gets the nod before Garland.
Probably right.
That's
though.
disgusting.
I think he
I'm
does.
so
I agree
upset.
that it's disgusting, but I mean they put Drew Holiday in over both of them, which I thought
Yeah.
was
Questionable.
Good for Drew. I like Drew, but
I like Drew, but I mean, whatever. It's Drew Holiday. He's a good basketball player. He's one of the better point guards in the league. Like, I mean, can't complain, too much, obviously, but we're a little bit biased. Game predictions.
Are we?
So, well,
Cavs
apparently,
encapsulated.
if you go on Twitter, if people come at Justin like he's the biggest homer to ever exist in covering sports.
I don't do a great job of backing myself up when I talk about Ohio State players being drafted and Cavs players doing whatever.
Is that 6 of the last 7 for Logan? Woo!
Valid.
Cooking with fish grease now.
And I'm struggling. Fish grease.
I don't know. That's what
I was about to say the same thing.
That's
Jeff.
It's what Mark Jones says. He's an ESPN broadcaster. I don't like him. I think he's terrible. I mean, that's not true. He's fine.
Mid Jones.
But you remember when LeBron established LeBronto with his turnaround Jays in that third quarter? You remember like the turnaround game 2, 2018? He's cooking with fish grease now. And I said the exact same thing. I was like, what the hell is that?
That's a throwaway. That's a funny meme, but that's a throwaway. Almost like grab and open up your favorite, whatever.
Crack open your favorite beverage and settle on in. It's the Cavaliers and the Sixers next.
That means I have no beverage. That means water's in front of me.
Yeah.
4 games before next Tuesday. The next time you'll see us Cavs Encapsulated crew. I should have said like the video, subscribe, but you guys already know all that stuff. Logan, 35-21, absolute heater. It's just Cavs for days. You haven't picked the opposing team in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. How are we feeling tonight?
How many more games will that continue, Logan?
It's going to continue.
I don't know. I'm going to go Cleveland here, though. I believe me, Detroit began the season. I was worried about them, but they're in Wemby territory, and they're good, but they can't close games. They're too young. They turn it over a lot. Cavaliers should get a lot of runouts.
They don't care.
Cavs.
This team doesn't. This team doesn't care.
It's in tank mode.
Lose this game and unfollow the Pulse from Twitter.
Yeah.
It'll be Ballistic Nation. Let's do reverse snake at Pelicans. I'm just riding the high. I don't even care.
I'm also riding the high.
I mean, you have to. I think this is the best basketball we've played all year, regardless of talent.
This is the one I thought was going to be tough, Logan, but
Me too. Well, actually, the next game because it's back-to-back.
I just can't.
We're hosting the Bulls. We're hosting the Spurs. I'm going Pelicans. Our history playing in New Orleans is not good.
That's
who's going to do that? Justin, do you want to kick us off?
Are they hurt at all? Zion out?
Oh, yeah, Jeff, I got a real surprise for you here. I'm going to go Cavs.
Justin has the easiest job every week. Cavs.
I don't even look at injury reports.
Logan, listen, I say this with the greatest amount of pride. I have Jeff above me, and I have you below me explaining things to the greatest of ability. And you get to me, and it's like, yeah, well, you know what? The Cavs are playing really well. I'm just going to keep going with the Cavs. Right. That's why people are like, Justin's a homer. He just says one thing and he's gone.
Zion's out tonight, so I don't know if that means he'll be out by then, but...
What's the injury?
It just says out.
I'm going Cavs. I'm going Cavs the rest of the way. I don't care.
All right, Jeff, come on. You already know. There we go.
Fill it in. All right, Mr. Methodical. Ooh, that's a great nickname.
Mr. Methodical, dude, on the spot. Hell yeah. I'll go Cavs and Cavs. I mean, at the end of the day, these are both two teams we should beat. The Bulls game on a back-to-back scares me. We're at home, so I just totally changes my thought process. And we owe one to the Spurs. They should have no business beating us earlier this year, but they did.
They made a trade earlier for Dwayne Dedmon.
I don't really know what that was.
Such a Popovich move.
I'm looking at Zion's injury right now. Stand by, guys. Go ahead and
Logan, you made a mistake. Pelicans Zion Williamson unlikely to return from injury before NBA All-Star break.
Okay, it's not official then. So go ahead and lock in the Cavs.
We say this, and it's like we did lose to Golden State with 4 of their starters being out.
True.
This is true. I'm telling you, New
So you're
Orleans
changing
is
it,
not.
Logan?
No, he ain't changing it. The graphic is gone. I
The
already
graphic is gone.
I already
Let's
X'd out
go!
that. I already X'd out.
bullshit.
That's gone. That
That's
tab has been gone,
bullshit.
deleted. We're gonna just keep going, rolling on with our lives.
All right,
We
I
got-
guess I'll
This
see
is
Justin
for
at the
all
top of the
times that Logan
standings.
had the inside information and he used it against us to win games.
You know, you gotta let the kids have fun every now and then, right?
Pels,
You're
Pels
damn
will
right.
Pels will blow us out by like
You're damn right.
Can't wait. All right. 36 minutes in. Cavs encapsulated, whatever episode number. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit subscribe, go watch shorts that we put out. Logan does a great job. Yeah. Final thoughts, Justin? Anything?
Put Darius Garland in the All-Star game, please. Thank you.
He might make a late run push. Logan, do you concur? And then final thoughts?
I concur. I'm a Cavalier fan at the end of the day. I think he's one of
Valid.
the best point guards in the Eastern Conference, and he's an all-star in the Eastern Conference at the end of the day, right? I totally understand any argument that you want to say. I could see plenty of point guards in that all-star game, but that's the way it is, man. That's the league that it is now. It's a talented league. As far as final thoughts, the Cavaliers have been sharing the rock very well. Very well. 33 assists, followed by 26 assists last night in Washington. And, you know, obviously when you like your one-on-one matchups, you like Donovan going one-on-one, you like Darius going one-on-one, but this team's most success is going to come moving that basketball. And I think they're doing a great job of it ever since Ricky Rubio came back. Keep that same mindset. Pretend Dylan Brooks hits you in the nuts every single game. Okay. That's the way I will say,
right.
You know, if that's what it takes to keep this team's focus right, it's in a good place now. Cavs are in a good place right now. We're in a good place right now. And hopefully by the end of the season, the Cavs will be in an even better place than they are right now.
We go nearly 40 minutes and don't mention Ricky Rubio.
Ricky's been awesome.
But I think that it's somewhat implied where if he's right, we are a lot better. I think he, at the end of the day, we were talking trade deadline a lot. He is the move at the trade. He's the move at the trade deadline. Get him 100% healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with the trade. Just get a guy who is still getting
I
incorporated.
love seeing him close out the Grizzlies with those 3 triples,
Yes.
by the way.
Yes.
That was a refreshing sight to see.
It's guaranteed if he's right that we're going to be right. And I like that about him. He's the veteran presence in the room who actually plays, not Kevin Love. 2 things before we head out. Number 1, Dylan Brooks, thank you. Number 2, Dylan Brooks, you're not like that.
You're not
Personalized guarantee.
You're not that guy.
With that being said, we'll see you guys next Tuesday or on a live stream or on a different upload. With that all being said, 3 most important words, Cavalier Nation, let them know.